So good morning all of you. Yesterday I have started correlation chapter, and in the correlation chapter I have explained you the meaning of correlation and I have started the types of correlation. In the types of correlation I have completed the first type of correlation, that is correlation on the basis of direction of change. On the basis of direction of change there are two types of correlation, that is positive correlation and negative correlation. Today I have to start the second type of correlation, that is on the basis of ratio of variation of variable. Is it clear? Ratio of variation of variable. Is it clear? On the basis of means at what percentage the two variables are changing. On the basis of the percentage of variation of variable, we determine two types of correlation. That is first one is linear correlation and second one is non-linear correlation. Is it clear? So on the basis of the percentage, now let us take the example. Okay, let us take the example of the linear correlation. We'll start the first one as linear correlation. Take the first example as linear correlation. Okay, let us take two variables. I am taking two variables. Suppose that I will take income and consumption. I am taking two examples of variable. First one is income, second one is consumption. How much a consumer is consuming, that depends on the income of the consumer. Is it clear? Means when income of the consumer increases, consumption also increases. That we have studied. When income of the consumer decreases, consumption also decreases. But if every time income is increasing by 10%, then if consumption every time due to 10% increase in income every time, consumption is also increasing by 8%. Means when income is increasing every time by 10%, your consumption is increasing every time by 8%. Means the increase in income is constant, that is 10% every time, and increase in consumption is constant, that is 8% every time. Then this is called, means when, what is the second type? On the basis of the ratio of variation of variable. If the ratio of variation of variable, variation means changes. If the ratio of variation of variable is constant every time, then we call it as what? Linear correlation. But suppose with every time increase in income by 10%, first your consumption is increasing by 8%, then it is increasing by 7%, then it is increasing by 6%. Means when income is increasing, your consumption is increasing, but first it is increasing by 8%, then it is increasing by 7%, then it is increasing by 6%, then we call it as what? Non-linear correlation. So what do you mean by non-linear correlation? If the ratio of variation of variable is not constant, is changes every time, then it is called non-linear correlation. What is linear correlation? When the ratio of variation in the variable is constant, then it is called linear correlation. So write down the second point, second type, heading write down. First type yesterday I have completed. So write down the second type on the basis of ratio of variation in the variables. Then you write, under this you write, it is of two types. Then write down the first one, linear correlation. Write down the first one, linear correlation, and write down the meaning of linear correlation. When the ratio of changes in the when the ratio of changes in the two variables is constant. When the ratio of changes in the two variables is constant. When the ratio of changes in the two variable is constant, comma, then it is called linear correlation. Then it is called linear correlation. I am repeating again. When the ratio of changes in the two variable is constant, then it is called linear correlation. Full stop. Then we'll explain it with the help of example. Change the paragraph. For example, if with 10% increase in income, for example, if with 10% increase in income, comma, consumption every time increases by 8%, consumption every time increases by 8%, then we call it linear correlation. Full stop. Now write on the second one, that is non-linear correlation. Second one, non-linear correlation. So what will be the meaning of non-linear correlation? When the ratio of changes in the two variable is not constant. Okay, so write on the meaning, heading write non-linear correlation. Under this you write when the ratio of change in the two variable is not constant, comma, then it is called non-linear correlation. Then it is called non-linear correlation. Full stop. Then we'll explain it with the help of example. Change the paragraph and write example. For example, if with 10% increase in income, if with 10% increase in income, comma, consumption first increases by 8%, then by 7%, and then by 6%, and so on. I am repeating again. If with 10% increase in income, comma, consumption increases first by 8%, then by 7%, then by 6% and so on, then it is called non-linear correlation. Then it is called non-linear correlation. Full stop. Is it clear? So we have completed the second type of correlation. Now we need to do the third type of correlation, and we'll complete this topic today. What is the third type of correlation? On the basis of number of correlation. The third one. Write on the basis of number of correlation. Under this you write, it is of three types. It is of three types. Write on the first one, simple correlation. Write on the first one, simple correlation. Simple correlation. Under this you write, when only two variables are involved, we call it simple correlation. Full stop. Example. For example, price and demand, only two variable, price and supply, etc. Simple correlation. What is multiple correlation? Right. When more than two variables are involved, when more than, write on the second one, multiple correlation. When more than two variables are involved, then it is called multiple correlation. Full stop. Then write for example, income, comma, demand, comma, economic growth. I have taken three variables: income, demand and economic growth. Is it clear? So here more than two variables are involved. Last one, partial correlation. Right. When only two variables are involved, keeping other factors remaining constant. When only two variables are involved, keeping other variables constant, then we call it partial correlation. Example, right? For example, price and demand keeping income constant. Price and demand keeping income, taste constant. Is it clear? So these are the types of correlation. So we have completed 3 types of correlation, children. First, on the basis of direction of change, we have positive and negative correlation. Second, on the basis of ratio of variation in the variable, we have linear and non-linear correlation. Third, we have on the basis of direction, on the basis of number of variable, we have simple correlation, multiple correlation and partial correlation. Is it clear? Now tomorrow, I am going to do the degrees of correlation and then the methods of correlation. And day after tomorrow, I am going to start the problem sums of this chapter. For today only this much. Thank you, children.